to start the second half, you can't do anything better than having Alex Lewandowski returning kicks. It was only a matter of time this season before he finally broke one. And he finally did break one for a touchdown.
Well, he didn't catch the ball very clean. And we talked about it afterward. It was a short kick. It kind of went into his chest. He bobbled it, and then he had to catch it a second time.
Yep.
Yeah, but then he took off, and it's just that's just our middle wedge return, and that's kind of our basic kickoff return that we run. And Al did a great job, and there's not a lot of guys in the area that are as fast as Al. And once he hits a little crease, that was he did that a few times last year, and it's just kind of funny as coaches you're debating. All game long, or not all game long, but at halftime, what are we going to run? How much longer the first team is going to stay in? Well, kind of the plays, the series of plays that we had picked out to run, or at least kind of I did in my head. Al returns a kickoff, and then Blake Sadford, I think maybe the second play on our next offensive series took a trap that got down to about the 1 yard line or so. And, all those plays that you had planned out and wanted to run, it's, that's just 2 more scores tacked on the board. And, the game was all but over at that point.
Now, final score play for you was Zach Houston passing one to Blake Sanford for 28 yards. Yeah. And the reason I'm pointing that out is how much of the offense, I don't want to lose Nick by any means, but how much of the offense can Zach Houston run right now if Nick gets dinged up?
Oh, I think he's very competent to run a lot of it. You just maybe don't get all the reps that the first-team quarterback would during the week, but there's backups at every position, and the people are starters for a reason, and because they do a good job. But there's part of coaching is having a backup plan, not only for when things don't work with your starters, but when someone gets injured. And kind of a choice you make as a coach is, we were up at that point pretty big, but Zach came in, and in the Tri-Unity game, he did a good job running our shotgun jet read series. And I purposely ran that with Zach because I know there could be a time where he might be asked to do it in a tighter game. And just, making the play we threw to Blake was, you're up by 40 points at that point. You're not trying to throw the ball over the field. We just ran a little 5-yard out. And Zach did a good job just catching it on a shotgun and throwing it out to Blake. And Blake's got a lot of ability. And Blake put a move on a couple guys, and he took a 5-yard little out, 34 yards for a touchdown. So, again, it's not a situation where you're just trying to throw the ball up that much, but at the same time, these backups and someone like Zach is very capable, and he practices all week, and you want to be able to see what he can do sometimes. So he made the right throw, and Blake made a nice run after it.
So 55-6 victory gives you a record of 4-2 right now on the season, 4 wins in a row for your team. I guess what was kind of the message to the team in the locker room after that win?
The message is. I think anytime you're in charge of something, you have a goal for what you want the final outcome to be. And our final outcome, in my mind, is to be playing the 10th week of the season, is to make the playoffs. So, no matter who the opponent is, as long as it's a win, it put us one step closer to playing Week 10. And that's the way we've looked at the last 4 games. And, we've got another one coming up this week where it puts us at 5. And that puts us, real close to qualifying for sure. Again, that's just kind of the way that, my mentality of approaching it and our coaching staff is, once you've secured a playoff berth and once you get in the playoffs, you can start setting new goals. But, your first goal has got to be there to get enough wins to qualify for the playoffs.
Now I got a question for you because I still haven't learned it. How well do you understand the playoff point system that the MHSAA has?
Probably too well.
Okay.
I kind of grew up with it, and I'm not saying I was a nerd with that aspect, but I kind of followed this stuff, and I don't want to say follow it in my spare time, but I mean maybe at one point in my life I followed it in my spare time. Now it's my job to follow it. So
right.
Yeah, I think I have a pretty good handle on the point system, and I had, a former coach, Mike Holmes was so good at it. He was very, very exact in knowing exactly what had to happen and how many points you got for a win versus so many teams, and there's something called bonus points that are attached to it. So. I had an opportunity to learn from somebody who was, just dead on and knew all about that. And another coach that used to coach with us, Joe Perry, he was great at that. He used to always, we got into week 7, week 8. He used to be, drawing maps up on a little transparency. He put over the state of Michigan map on who qualified and where we possibly be going. And that helped us a ton in trying to figure out, maybe if we had to go scout an extra week or where we could be heading, and just starting to think in your head where those preparations needed to be. So, I guess I got a pretty good grasp on how it works.
Okay, so we got a team coming in Wyoming. They're coming from a big school district, but they're winless.
Yep.
So how does that affect the points that you will get should you win this game?
It's very, I'll put it in kind of layman's terms, it's very similar to beating a small school with a lot of wins.
Okay.
So we're going to get if we happen to beat them, or you happen to beat any team there, it's kind of where in football they go by 8 divisions.
Right.
Well, the playoff point system works on what classification your school is, if you're Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D. So there's kind of, you're dealing with 2 different systems there almost. And you get the you get a point value for beating a Class A team, you get a point value for beating a Class B team, and so on. And you get that value regardless of how many wins they have. And then if they have wins, you get points attached to that. So again, if we happen to beat them this week and then they win their last 2 games, that's better for us.
Okay.
And I guess that's the way it works. The state rewards you for playing larger schools.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
So thank you for answering that. That's I like that kind of stuff too. So
right.
maybe a couple other stat nerds out there enjoy that. 2 other things I want to talk about before we go to the break and start talking about this Wyoming team. First is Mal Lewandowski checked with us right before the game last week and gave us the scoop that Alex has got a scholarship offer. And that's got to be a great feeling not only for him but for you as a coaching staff, having him have something like that come his way.
Yeah, I know he's had a number of schools on his list, and I know him and his father traveled all over the Midwest just about all last summer, and they went out east a little bit, and a number of schools that Alex was interested in. And Alex he really falls in that special category where he's not only has just tremendous athletic ability, but he's an excellent student, and he's ranked very, very high in his class. I don't want to 3.8, 3.9. He's somewhere up there, a very high ACT score. So Al's going to, a kid like that has a little more options than somebody else would. And I know one of the schools he's been looking at is Saginaw Valley State. And I know he attended a game there this past weekend, and I think he had a good experience. And they got a tremendous program at the Division II level, and he said they offered him a scholarship, and I'm sure that's kind of when you have a caliber of kid like Al, that's kind of probably the first of a lot of offers that are going to be out there, and you feel good for the kid, and we actually have 2 players playing there right now who start for the Cardinals on defense, and we're proud of those kids, and anytime you can have a Crusader go on and play in college and have success, it's just wonderful.
Now, do you help with that pipeline at all over to Saginaw Valley State? Or?
I'd like to. That's
okay.
my alma mater, and
yep.
I played football there, and I really had a good experience there, and I really liked the place. And I'm glad. I do tell the kids about my experience there, but at the same time, every college, every university is not the right fit for every kid, and you just hope that the kids make the decision that's best for them, and not necessarily what was best for me 15 years ago. It's what's best for these kids now. So they've got to really look at it. Do they have the they got a picture where they're going to be, these are 17, 18-year-old kids, double your age. Where are you going to be when you're 36, 37? And, you got to make your decisions based on, what school you're going to. Do they have the right program that you're looking at academic-wise? And, base your decision off that. Don't, base your decision because, one of your coaches played there, one of your friends played there. Take a serious look at these places and figure out what's best for you.
All right, so exciting news on the front for the Crusaders. And then one final thing, I don't know if a lot of people know about this or not, but there's a publication called the Local Sports Journal. It's an online publication, and they had a feature this week on Coach Rebecki. And looking at some of the stats, a little round of applause for Coach Rebecki. Actually, a big round of applause is worthy of that. There isn't an assistant coach in the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame yet, but, man, looking at those numbers, if there ever is a guy worthy of that, I think you got to put him at the top of the list. Yeah,
the Muskegon Sports Hall of Fame is just an extremely large honor to get into. And it's something I think he's going to receive some serious consideration for that. Coach Holmes, I think, in the piece that was written about him, and they do just a wonderful job over at Local Sports Journal. Covering local sports, and Jason Gorman's there kind of leading that thing. Coach Holmes had in the piece you're referencing, Coach Holmes had a nice quote where, someone had said, you had better get your speech ready to be in the Muskegon Sports Hall of Fame. And, Coach Holmes was very quick to say, well, if anybody belongs in as well, it's Mike Rebecki. And just the numbers, and he coached at Catholic 77, 78, didn't coach in 79, but then had been on the sidelines since 1980 till present. And I think last week actually put him at, and we actually went back and counted this twice. put him at 299 games that he's been associated with as an assistant for varsity football where they've gotten wins. And that is, that's just a staggering number to be associated with. And I think it's more staggering when you think about it. It's been at one place. And it's been at one place, and it's the only place he's ever coached at. I got to believe because he hasn't left, it's the only place he's wanted to coach at. And just an amazing career. And I think anybody that's worked with him will tell you just, not only just what a great coach he is, but just what a great rapport he has with the kids, and what a great role model he is to have around the kids every day. And it's people like that are, being coached by someone like that can really impact your life 10, 15 years down the road, and some of the decisions you make and the lessons you learn from them. So, the wins are great and the numbers are staggering, but, I think more importantly, the impact that he's made on individual kids, that's something that, you really can't put into words, and something that kind of, it really transcends any kind of coaching records or numbers you can throw out there.
So if you get a chance, check out the local sports journal. Nice feature on Coach Rebecki. We will take a 3-minute break, and we will come back and talk a little bit about the Wyoming team that is coming into Crusaderland this weekend. We'll be right back after these messages here on Country 93.1.